Hey, what's up, guys? Jeff with Apex Predator Outfitters. Hey, I did a short the other day on the Cobra Effect, and I realized I kind of only told you guys half the story, so I wanted to do a longer video to get kind of more in depth, because I only really told you half the story on the Cobra Effect, and there is an entirely other side of it that is actually pretty good. So just to recap what I talked about, I gave you an example of in France, an example of the Cobra Effect is back in the day in France, they had a disease problem, right? And they figured out that the rats were the ones carrying the diseases. So what they did was they put a bounty on the rats. Well, they were smart enough to figure out that they didn't want to have a pile of rats piling up, you know, the dead rats for the bounty. So what they did was they put a bounty on the tails. So all you had to do was bring in the rat tail and you would get paid for that. Well, what happened was the people figured out, hey, I can just cut the tail off this rat, take the tail in and get paid and let the rat go, and the rats will breed and produce more rats. So I can catch them and take their tails in. So they ended up having more rats, all right? And what that is it's an example of unintended consequences, and it's also an example of the importance of critical thinking when making decisions. Now, just to tell you where the name came from, a little bit of background on the Cobra Effect, it actually came from India, and it's a very similar story to what happened in France. Basically, when the British colonized India, they had a cobra problem, right? Cobras were killing people and they were injuring people. So what they wanted to do was reduce the cobra population. So similar to France, they put a bounty on the cobras. Well, what happened was that created an entire industry with the locals, to where the locals started breeding cobras to take in just for the bounty. And of course, what happened? They ended up with a net gain in cobras. There was more cobras overall because of the unintended consequences. Now, on the flip side of that, you know, there are good unintended consequences that can happen. Case in point, if you go to the doctor for a checkup and the doctor says, hey, your blood pressure's a little high, your cholesterol's a little high, what I suggest you do is go on a diet, get some exercise, all right, so we can bring those numbers down so you can be healthier overall. Well, some unintended consequences of that, if you're going strictly from a health perspective, is you're going to lose weight, all right? You're going to lose weight, you're going to look better, you're going to feel better, and you're going to have more energy. So that is an unintended consequence of that when that wasn't your intention going in. So the moral of the story, and to wrap this all up, guys, is critical thinking is important. Just like you're playing a game of chess. If you make this move, what is the other person going to do? Or what is your next move going to be after that, right? Because sometimes we get in our heads like, oh, I want to do this one thing. I want to do this one thing and get to this one outcome. But we don't fully think it through to realize what are the unintended consequences that could happen from that, because there is a vast number of them. So again, this is an exercise in critical thinking. It would benefit everybody greatly once you start getting these ideas of things you want to do, or I want to tackle this way, or tackle that way. You want to sit down and kind of study, hey, what could go wrong? What else could happen? What are the unintended consequences of my actions? All right, guys. Hey, I hope you learned something on this. I know I sure did when I was researching it. Do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe for me. I do a lot of different stuff. I do dad jokes. Anytime I learn something new, I try to share it with you guys. But thanks for supporting the channel, and I'll catch you on the next video.